Do you have all the wealth that you want in your life? If so, you can probably stop this video unless you just want a good reminder or reinforcement of principles that you already know. However, if you don't have all the wealth, all the money, all the financial abundance that you would like to do everything that you want, as well as provide for all the people that you care about, then this is going to be a very important video. In fact, one of the most important videos I think I've ever recorded. Part rant, part rant against the toxic mentality that I see out there, but also some practical things that could help you attract more wealth. Now, not coming from a place as if I know it all. I am a constant student. I do not have all the wealth and money that I would desire in my life, which is one of the reasons why I'm reading this book. And this is not a book review. However, it was just timely that I got an email of someone, I don't know if you say calling me out, certainly calling me some names, which I'll share with you in a bit, some insulting names. And I thought it's just perfect timing with this book by Dan Kennedy called No BS Wealth Attraction. Halfway through it, you can probably see, great book so far. It brings up some great points. And it talks about, so far a number of different concepts, but this idea of, let's just start with what keeps people from generating wealth. And I'm going to tie that into an email that I got. So there's a few points in this email, but the big thing is this. The person is like, okay, you're already a successful author, right? Okay, so why not help your fellow authors without asking for money? If you really have enough knowledge, then why not help them for free? Word for word what it says, if you have enough knowledge, why not help them for free? And that is a great question. Okay, now I'm going to be sharing why I don't help authors only for free. But this is really important because if you have questions like this going through your mind, or if you don't get what I'm about to share with you, this could be keeping you from generating the wealth and attracting the money in your life that you want. So here is a part of my answer to that, and I can post the email below. I'll post the exact email in which she said, my response, by the way, forewarning, she said, because of what I'm about to share with you, in my opinion, you're a very immature man and you have no clue about life and anything else. Very sad indeed. So I'll let you be the judge if I'm very immature. I happen to agree I'm very immature. This is my mug. It's a poop emoji. I never claimed to be mature. And as far as not having a clue about anything in life, I'm a constant student. I could be wrong about any of this stuff, so you don't have to believe anything I'm about to say. You can just see if it matches up with your own experience. And so what I shared a couple things, but one thing is this idea of, if you really want to help authors, you do it for free, or why not do it for free? Well, there's a very good reason why not. And it's, first of all, totally self-serving that I want to make money. Like, of course I want to make money. I want to pay bills. I want to do some things. And I want to make even more money than what I'm generating from book sales. In fact, I constantly want to generate more money. And I'll get to that in a moment, that I'm not ashamed of wanting money and wanting more money. And she even made a point that, don't you earn enough money from your own book sales? Well, earn enough for what? Right? And I don't like to brag about I give money to charity and, try to show off that I do that. However, I do give money to charity, and the more money that I generate, the more I can give to charity, the more I can give to my family, and yes, the more I can do fun stuff for myself. So what is enough, right? That is evidence that someone has a scarcity mindset, that there's only so much to go around, that if I'm making more money, if Derek is making more money, he's taking it away from me. That is the mindset that a person has when they're in scarcity. If you believe in abundance, what does it matter? And that's the fundamental thing. Now, we could get into that in a moment, but I want you to notice that. But there's also a very practical reason why it's not a good idea to teach everything for free. And this is especially true if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, if you're anything like that. And I'll come back to this idea that they say this would be a real teacher, altruistic. Well, first of all, quick story about what researchers did. And I like to, this isn't my opinion, this is based off of the evidence out there. So they got two groups of people, and they had a doctor give a talk, give a presentation, and sit down and give some free coaching, some free tips and advice to one group of people about nutrition and exercise and healthy living, whatever it was. Maybe it was just nutrition. If they gave them some free advice. Now, you might be able to guess what happens when you give someone free advice if you've ever done this. As you might be able to guess, most of the people in there did not do anything with the advice that they were given. They didn't value it. They might go, oh yeah, okay, it's a doctor giving advice. They didn't do anything with it. Now, as an alternative, they had a doctor give the same advice to a different group, and this group invested for it. And what do you think happened? Far more of them actually implemented the advice. They took it seriously. Okay, so if you give and you teach for free, you're actually hindering on a psychological, emotional level someone's desire to implement. I know it's not logical. We're just hardwired that way as human beings. I'm aware of this bias, and even I just can't take it as seriously. I do not feel as motivated to apply something when I got it for free or cheap versus when I invest heavily into it. Okay, I didn't invent human psychology. You don't have to say this is the way it should be. I'm just sharing this is what some of the research shows. If you teach people for free, if you give your advice for free, it actually could be harmful. Now, I didn't want it to be that way. I didn't always believe that. I never set out to become a teacher. I wanted to be a rock star guitar player. People came to me for advice about health and fitness, and I just share with them, here's what you do, here's how you exercise, here's what you do. And most people would never do anything with it. And it pissed me off. That's why I started to study about the psychology of it. I was so bothered that people would not implement the advice that I was giving them, even though I knew it worked. And I realized that that's actually a disservice for them. Yes, and again, there's a self-serving motive for me wanting to make money from teaching. I like to make money. And here's the thing. If you're an author and you want to sell books, what I didn't get about the contradiction here of the person who sent me the email is that it was okay for them to make money from selling books. So how is it okay to make money from selling books? Like, that's okay, but it's not okay to make money from teaching. And they said this would be a real teacher. To teach without, help your fellow authors without asking for money. This would be a real teacher, altruistic. Here's my belief. I believe that teachers do not get paid nearly enough. I believe teachers should be one of the highest paid professions out there, especially school teachers, grade school teachers, teachers who are responsible for shaping the hearts and minds of upcoming generations. That should be one of the highest paid professions for the value that they're providing, for the things that they have to put up with. So I don't agree that teachers should teach for free. Doctors save people's lives. Don't ask them to do it for free. We don't have our school teachers teach for free. Again, I believe they should be paid more. So why would this be any different? So I have a fundamental disagreement with that. And when I call it out, and this might be the thing that she had issue with, is I say that's an entitlement mentality, expecting people to give you something for free. Okay, so I imagine if you have that mentality, you're welcome to unsubscribe. I don't think you're going to enjoy my philosophy because the thing I find repulsive is an entitlement mentality. Now that's different than saying never give away anything for free. It's kind of like if someone does something nice for me and I realize that they didn't have to do that for me, that creates gratitude. I'm grateful that they do that. But if I just say, well, they should do it for free, you lose the appreciation for something. Does that make sense? Right? And you can think about your own experience. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone, maybe if you're a parent, and you do things for your kids and they just take it for granted? Well, that's what you're supposed to do. You're my mom or you're my dad, right? Like, versus them going, hey, you didn't have to do that, and I really appreciate that you did do that. That is not an entitlement mentality. That's an mentality of gratitude and appreciation. And entitlement mentality, now getting back to this idea of attracting wealth, will be it's absolutely toxic to generating wealth and income. Okay, so I can't say that I'm totally free from it at times. I mean, I can rant and rave about it, and I can do this stuff, but I mean, I have to constantly catch myself. Am I feeling entitled to to something, right? Whether that's, well, people should just buy my stuff because it's good. People should just buy my books because they're good. People should just buy my course. Well, no, I have to figure out how to present it in a way that's compelling. And that might mean investing my time and money and learning about language and communication. And then I go, well, why should I have to figure this all out, right? So it's a constant, I don't know if you say battle, but it's a constant thing to be making yourself aware of and to have awareness around that. So the fundamental issue is this idea that it's expected to give something for free. And so this also means that I do teach some things for free. I do believe in giving some things for free. Like my dad, he's a doctor. So there are times where as a doctor, he will do pro bono work. There are times where people are really in desperate situations and you can be sympathetic to that and you may do something for free. But even then, I wouldn't do it for just always do stuff for free. I still like an exchange of some sort. Say, hey, go pay it forward. Or, hey, I'll do this for free, just share a testimonial to inspire others. Even that can be important. So a person, it actually helps them feel like they're not in this weird state where they owe something, but they value now what they've received, and there's been this fair energy exchange. Okay, so I want to make a point when I'm saying not teaching for free. I'm really saying I don't only teach for free, but I have a free book, Why Authors Fail, on Kindle. I have free tips and newsletter. So there's still a lot that's given for free, and that is an important part. It's just ultimately there is something to sell or some sort of energy exchange, if only saying, hey, share your time with me and then I'll give you something in return. So I want to make that important distinction, which leads to a point that I'm about to cover, which is this whole idea of either or thinking, and that is only one or only the other. This person we clearly do not see eye to eye, and she also started out by saying, is it true that those who can't do will teach and those who can do not teach? Which one are you? I think we know. Well, subtly trying to call me out as if it's, well, if you're teaching, then it means you can't do. Well, the other mentality that is toxic to attracting wealth is either or thinking. Okay. Either or thinking is useful at times, right? I mean, a woman's either pregnant or not pregnant. Usually, it's not kind of a halfway between there. However, there's also, it's like, why couldn't, for me, and this is an important productivity strategy for you, combining things, going, it's because I do that I can teach, and it's because I teach that it helps me do. The two don't contradict, they complement one another. And this comes back to this idea of you can make money and help others. You can't, not only can you do both, what if by making more money, you're able to better serve others? You're able to help more people. You're able to help on a deeper level. And they actually take it more seriously and get better results because you're charging for it. And all that might be is for your books. If you're giving away all your books for free, people might not take it seriously. So this is really important to embrace sales, money, receiving money, right? You will only, to the degree that you're open and to the degree that you expect others to just give things for free, it will jack up your own sense and your own willingness to sell things of your own. Okay? I mean, that could be, I want to be respectful of your time. We're already going almost 15 minutes in here, so I'll start to wrap it up. That is so key to get and to be aware of. So I believe that it's robbing people to teach only for free. I do have things for free, and what's funny is I sent this person, I can see in the emails that they received probably over 100 emails from me, with many of them sharing free tips and things to help them that they didn't even open, which just further reinforces the idea that it might have been because people don't value things for free. She would say, I'm just overwhelmed by so-called money-grabbing teachers, apparently, which I'm one. And you know what? I love grabbing money, right? But at the same time, I love grabbing money if people want to pay me and if people find it valuable. But the thing that you pointed out is that, what if this is taking advantage of people? And this is the final point that I want to make as a practical point, right? I'm sure you make good money teaching others who are starving and almost desperate. Am I taking advantage of people who are starving and desperate? Well, the first thing I would say is if someone's starving and desperate, I don't know how they had the money to pay me. And for any of my coaching services, I make sure a person has adequate finances, not only to cover my expenses, but here's the big thing. Publishing a book and marketing a book, whether or not you're paying a teacher, it's still a financial investment. And one of the things I see coming up is this idea of like, if you're starving and you can barely put food on the table, it's going to cost, I know I'm stating the obvious here, it's going to cost you money to get an editor, to get a cover designer. Running a business is not a free thing. Okay, I don't know where this, I guess it's kind of another entitlement mentality that you can just start a business for free. It's like only in the very recent modern age has that even been feasible. You go back throughout most of human history, to start a business or start a franchise, you needed capital. You needed upfront money to start a business. So if you're doing this as a hobby, fine, doesn't matter. But if you're doing this as a business, it doesn't matter if you can't rub two nickels together for a coach, then how are you going to get the money for actually publishing a book? So if you're in that case, what I recommend is, when I was going through this, and I know some people in way worse conditions than I was, but I was sleeping on an air mattress. I was in a dumpy apartment. I was living with a hoarder for a couple years. There was one point where the living room was just filled with plates and food, and there's ant infestation going into the food, and the dish sink was filled with this nasty, grimy dishes, and I lived there because that's what I could afford, about all I could afford when I moved out to LA. Sleeping on an air mattress, selling almost everything I had, month after month, selling things just to stay on top of the bills, taking another job, teaching online guitar lessons, and I still, A, invested in my education. And B, what I did was I didn't have the entitlement sense. I probably at one point I did, but I learned that I can't expect someone to give it to me for free. And even if I got the knowledge for free, it's still going to take some money to get a business going, to pay for an email service and a website and all these different things. So instead of going, I just don't have the money, it was always, how can I? How can I generate the money? How can I raise the funds? Okay, so if someone's in a desperate situation, one thing that might be helpful, I know it sounds extreme, but go and think, if you had to rate, if the life of someone that you loved depended on you raising $1,000 this month or $2,000, what would you do? If someone kidnapped your family and holding them ransom, and their lives depended on you coming up with $1,000, would you go, I just don't have the money? Or do you think you would find in a week or a few weeks, you would think you would find a way? So as Jim Rohn says, the bigger your why, the easier your how. You put on this mentality that I need to find a way, then I believe you will. So if someone is a starving author, my practical tip is look for a way to raise funds. Not because I need you to buy my stuff, although that's cool too, but because you're going to need the money, just practically speaking, to publish and market a book, whether or not you ever get anything of mine or anyone else's. Okay. So if that's the case, could you do ghostwriting services? Could you do editing? I know some people narrate audiobooks. Are there other skills and things that you can do? Okay. Building a business like from book publishing is going to take a while before you see income coming in from books. So I would recommend focusing on a skill that you can use to raise money and then using the money that you raise to fund your business. So don't say I don't ever give free advice. That you might go, well, Derek, how do I do that? Well, unfortunately, that's going to be case by case basis. However, if you follow that process and just say, if my life depended on it, you might find you can get pretty resourceful. If my life or the life of the people that I love depended on it, see what your brain comes up with. I really believe many times answers are within you. And if all it is going, well, I know someone that I could call, or I know someone that I could reach out to for help, or I know a book that I could read on that, or I know that I could probably start studying how to do ghostwriting and go to the library and you read some books and you could find a way if you really want it bad enough. And it might not happen overnight, might not happen in a week. For me, it took a couple years. Okay. So I'm not promising instant success. However, I do believe that if you do not have an entitlement mentality, but have a responsibility mentality of taking responsibility for your success and for your learning and being willing to give in order to receive, you will find a way to make your breakthrough. This is not, again, it's not coming from a place of perfection. I teach this because I need to do it. more and more myself, and the more I teach it, the more it holds me accountable. And by all means, if you disagree with anything I'm saying, I welcome dissenting opinions. If you want to call me out on saying, Derek, you're not taking enough responsibility, by all means, I welcome that. I give you permission to share lovingly and kindly your feedback, preferably without name calling. Love to know your thoughts. Was this helpful? Am I full of it? Am I, as this person says, am I just an immature person who has no clue? Doesn't really matter about me though. It's about you. How does this land with you? What does this bring up for you? I'd love to know your thoughts. Take care.